The Moors murderers Ian Brady and Myra Hindley were at the height of their crimes in 1965. They had killed 4 children of what we know of, but one man witnessed their 5th murder, and that's what led to the capture and the end of the 2 evil, sadistic murderers' reign of terror on children. This came at a price for the witness, and he didn't live an easy life after exposing Hindley and Brady. His victimization didn't come from the pair but from the public. Let's take a look into this story and see why and how this man became a target for some, but a hero for others. On the 6th of October 1965, Myra Hindley drove Ian Brady to Manchester Central train station and met 17-year-old Edward Evans. Brady told Evans that Hindley was his sister. This was unusual for Brady to find and entice their target. Maybe it was because Edward was gay. He invited Evans back to their place in Hattersley, and Edward agreed to come for a drink. They was drinking at the house when Brady sent Hindley to get her brother-in-law, who he had taken a shine to, and was impressed because he had a criminal record for violence. Brady wanted him to witness him in action as he committed murder. Hindley went along with this, but Hindley did not like her brother-in-law and didn't like Brady getting close with him. She thought it could jeopardize their safety. Myra Hindley's brother-in-law was 17-year-old David Smith. He was married to Hindley's younger sister Maureen, and Hindley and most of the family didn't agree with her marrying Smith, mostly because he had a criminal record, but he was not really liked within the family. He was staying at a relative's place with his wife not far away and arrived shortly after Brady sent for him. Myra Hindley told Smith to wait outside and wait for Brady to signal him by flashing the light on and off. David Smith was under the impression that they was robbing a gay guy, and he was to come in with a bottle of wine when instructed. Smith waited outside until the signal of the light flicking on and off happened, then he walked in through the back door, and was shocked by what he saw. It would be life-changing for him, and a lot of other people who suffered at the hands of Brady and Hindley. Smith walked in and waited in the kitchen for a moment, until he heard Hindley screaming and begging for his help. As he made his way into the living room, Ian Brady was attacking Edward Evans with an axe, giving him deadly blows, knocking him to the floor. He was still hitting him blow by blow. Smith recalled he hit him at least 14 to 15 times with the axe. Then Brady started to strangle him with electrical cord as he was doing so. He was shouting and calling Edward all kinds of horrible, disgusting names. Then it had stopped. Brady had killed the 17-year-old Edward Evans. Brady had sprained his ankle during the attack and couldn't move the body with Smith, and it was too heavy for him to take to the car alone. They wrapped up the body and hid it in a spare bedroom. Smith helped to clean up the mess with Hindley, and it was agreed that David Smith would come back the next morning with a baby's pram and move the body to the car, and he went home around 3 a.m. David Smith arrived home and vomited terribly. He told his wife Maureen what had happened, and they both agreed he should go to the police. Smith thought Brady might be watching him and armed himself with 2 knives, and at 6 a.m. when the streets began to wake, he went to the nearest phone box and called the police. The police went to Brady and Hindley's place over some false disturbance about a gun. They found the body of Edward Evans, and Brady, insisting it was a fight that got out of hand, was arrested and Hindley wasn't taken in. Hindley all along saying she wanted to go to the police station with him, pleading it was a fight, it was an accident. The police wasn't aware at the time they was dealing with serial killers, but things quickly began to unfold. Myra Hindley was arrested 4 days later for accessory to murder, and was remanded to prison. Police searching the property found an exercise book with the name John Kilbride on it, and this now made police suspect Brady and Hindley of other disappearances of children. Brady insisted to the police that he and Evans got into a fight. He claimed that Smith joined in and helped him to kill Edward Evans. David Smith told the police that Brady had a thing about railway stations. The police searched local train stations for unleft lockers. They found a ticket in Hindley's prayer book, which led them to the locker at Manchester Central train station. It was there they found all the incriminating evidence, like pornographic pictures of children, Brady and Hindley in certain spots at the moors, and an audio recording of the brutal torture and sexual abuse of Leslie Ann Downey. Smith and locals helped to look and point out places on the moors that looked familiar to them by the pictures. On the 21st of October, police found the badly decomposed body of John Kilbride, which he had to be identified by clothing. Ian Brady and Myra Hindley were charged with the murders of Leslie Ann Downey, John Kilbride and Edward Evans. Leading up to the trial, David Smith was getting money offers from newspapers for the exclusive rights to his story, and Smith accepted a deal with the News of the World, paying £15 weekly leading up to the trial, and a £1,000 sum if Brady and Hindley were found guilty. At that time this was a lot of money. David Smith was the chief witness in the case, and he and his wife Maureen was questioned over and over in the dock, being scrutinized for the money deal with the papers. Brady and Hindley both brought up Smith at every opportunity and said he was the third person in the murders. Many people believing their story, but many people thinking they wanted to implicate Smith because he was the person to bring them down. Ian Brady and Myra Hindley was found guilty of the 3 murders, and they were sentenced to life in prison. The law knew they had committed many more murders, but only the 3 was known at this time. After the trial, Smith was tormented by the death of Edward Evans and the other children. He was the man to put an end to the Moors' murderous reign of terror, but not everyone seen it that way. A lot of people saw Smith as an accomplice and an evil child killer, and he had a target on his back. He was often attacked in the street and shouted after. His wife Maureen, who was Hindley's sister, suffered the same kind of verbal attacks. Their child was spat at while in his pram. Tensions were high, and I guess people needed to anger them on someone. David Smith's stories in statements and at court, knowing a lot about Hindley and Brady, but I doubt he was ever involved in the children's murders. Edward Evans' murder, we can't be 100% sure if he was involved more. That was just a start of things to come for David and Maureen Smith. They was forced to move out of the area, but it still didn't stop with bricks being thrown through the window. Their home was vandalized. They received hate mail almost daily. Maureen could not let her children out of her sight. David Smith had a fight with someone at a pub, being threatened and accused of being a murderer. He spent time in prison, and Maureen left him at this point, and their 3 young children were taken into care. Smith had a breakdown and wasn't right for some time. Maureen died in 1980, and Smith remarried some years later. He moved to Galway in Ireland with his wife Mary and their daughter. David Smith helped police search the moors for Pauline Reade, and thought he might have been able to give some insight to where she was buried. Pauline Reade's body was found in 1987, 24 years after her death. Keith Bennett's body has never been found to this day. His mum Winnie Johnson never gave up till the day she died. She had even wrote letters to Myra Hindley and Ian Brady begging for them to give the location of Keith's body. The search still goes on through his brother Alan, but now Brady and Hindley are dead, there seems to be a very small chance. Myra Hindley gave a statement for the press decades later confirming David Smith never had anything to do with the murders. David Smith died in 2012 of cancer at the age of 64. Rest in peace to the children who were murdered by Brady and Hindley. Pauline Reade, John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey and Edward Evans. May you all rest in peace.